Yeah. Ain't no more quiet now. Nah. Tell them run that back. I said, hands up, head high, 10 toes. They monetize pain while the truth get froze. Big talks online, but they hearts stay cold. Still fighting for rights that was promised long ago. Ooh. We ain't your silence, nah. We ain't your fear. Hey. Every time they shut a door, we appear. From the city to the globe, here the people get loud. You can bury one voice, but you can't stop the crowd. Yeah. I'm from the side where the pressure make diamonds, where mothers pray hard cause the system stay violent. Kids learn trauma before they learn signs. Politicians campaign while communities dying. Look, everybody tweeting, everybody streaming, everybody woke till the camera stop beaming. Truth don't trend when the money intervening. That's why the real ones exhausted and screaming. Big change, fake morals, podium capping. Whole lot of hashtags, ain't nobody action. Trying to sell the vision with celebrity distractions. Meanwhile, rights disappear through strategic reactions. Close schools, close polls, close cases. Still see hate written all on their faces. History repeating, just switching the phrases. Different decades, same games, new stages. And they wonder why the people don't trust. Every headline feel dangerous to us. Every promise turned dust, but we still rise up, 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 rise up. Hands up, head high, 10 toes. They monetize pain while the truth get froze. Big talks online, but their hearts stay cold. Still fighting for rights that was promised long ago. Hey, we ain't your silence, we ain't your fear. Every time they shut a door, we appear. From the city to the globe, here the people get loud. You could bury one voice, but you can't stop the crowd. Yeah. Now everybody playing God with the algorithms, programming narratives and calling it the system. Who decides truth? Who decides wisdom? If the future artificial, who protect the children? Too much rage in the timeline scrolling. Young minds vulnerable, anger overloading. Everybody radical when the fear keep growing and the world stay tense while the missiles stay loaded overseas. War drums, contracts get signed. Oil, power, money always hide behind pride. Poor folks pay while the billionaires glide. And the news turn trauma into primetime vibes. Talk peace with a smirk while the stocks go up. Tell the working class, hold on, but enough is enough. People tired, people broke, people fed up. Still they call us angry every time we stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Listen, it's bigger than left or right, bigger than red or blue. People just wanna live, people just wanna breathe, people just wanna matter. But every generation gotta drag justice uphill, while somebody profits off the chaos. That's the part they don't say out loud. Hands up, head high, 10 toes. True hit harder when the beat line rolls. Pain, self-fear to a soul that knows. Power to the people, let the whole world know. We ain't your silence, we ain't your shame. If the people wake up, everything changed. From the city to the globe, hear the whole crowd roar. You can't dim light when the spirit won't war.
Sickness spreads in whispers, and poison wells and corrupted. But a community with a strong immune system develops its own antidote.
This is the cure. Listen. Listen, there's a venom in the discourse, a toxin in the talk, a parasitic agent feasting on the soul of the block. It spreads through the timeline, infecting the youth, disguising its poison. In the fragment of truth, it preaches self-interest, promotes the individual dream. Anything to fracture the collective, to poison the stream. We see the symptoms in the envy, the distrust that you breed. You planting seeds of chaos, fulfilling the system's need. This ain't about a person, this is about a constitution. You're a weapon of division, a tool of social pollution. Like the agenda's getting bold. Why? Your people have been sold. Jig is up. You're the poison, the cancer, and the cold. You don't fight for the cause, you just lighten the load for the oppressed. My. Hear the conscience, see the fraud. Bye. Your whole damn act's a fraud. You're a symptom of the sickness, a tool of the trade. For every conscience that we take, you pull us from the shade back into the darkness. Fighting sister against brother while you collect the profits, then go poison another. You weaponize our trauma, you monetize our pain. Tell us to tear each other down for your temporary gain. You speak the language of the people with the motives of the state. A sleeper cell of selfishness designed to make us hate. But the body's getting stronger, the fever's starting to break. We can finally see the difference between what's real and what's fake. Like, my, the agenda's getting bold. Why? Your people have been sold. Jig is up, you're the poison, the cancer, and the cold. You don't fight for the cause, you just lighten the load for the soul. My, yeah, the conscience, see the fraud. Bye. Your whole damn act's a fraud. But the antidote is unity, the cure is in the roots. It's the knowledge of the elders and the fire in the boots of a generation rising that refuses to be bought. Recalling all the lessons that our ancestors taught. We cleanse the foundation, rebuild the immune to make the collective a garden where the real seeds can bloom. You can't poison a forest that shares a single source. We are the uprising, the unstoppable force. This is a conscious rebellion, a surgical strike to separate the healthy cells from the ones you're alike. This is more than a track, it's a call to the core, to protect the foundation of what we're fighting for. So let them have the clout, let them have the fake fame, while we reclaim the power that's attached to our name. Every word is a brick, every verse is a wall, to protect the community and watch the poisoners fall. So let the record show a community divided is a target, a community infected is a tragedy, but a community united is a revolution. And the golden rule: protect the people. My. Protect the people. Protect the people. Hey. My. Protect the people. The people presence. My. My.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Golden, and we are back with another live, y'all. We are catching up and getting back to our regular scheduled program. So as y'all can see, we got to do our global Black History Roundup, and we did miss a week, y'all, so we will be doing 2 weeks. But I just want to go ahead and say hello to everyone that's here and appreciate everyone that did return and come back and is in the chat, and maybe anybody who may just be chilling in the cut, y'all. We appreciate that as well, and we can feel your presence. But shout out to Asher and Daisy, Thank y'all for coming back over and joining us on this live today. Y'all know I have my lovely co-host Imani here with me, and you know Mama Warrior is always in the background. And so yeah, we're gonna get into a few things, y'all. It is about 2:25 p.m. here Eastern time in the Carolinas, and y'all the sun is shining, so y'all know what that means. I'm in a good mood. I have some things that I'm going to talk about and address during that housekeeping. Once I get to my segment of that, but we're gonna go ahead and let Imani come on up to the stage. So what's up, Imani? How you doing, girl? How you feeling? What's up? Is you still on vacation or what, bro? The people want to know.
I'm always on vacation. I'm always on vacation. And I
I know
take a
that's right.
vacation when I see BS around the traps. So I've had a nice weekend. I've been
Yeah,
watching the tomfoolery and the tomfuckery and the everything. And
yeah.
my name is Bennett and I'm not in it, is
So I'm
what I
always
can
getting
say.
myself to some hot water, ain't I? I'm always getting myself to some hot water. And you be telling me
But,
like, sit down, just sit down, just
yeah,
stay still, and you know. Mm.
But the funny thing is, I'll tell you what was really funny. Me, you, I think it was me, you, Carlos, and Mama had a bet about a certain nosy Snoopy Doo not being able to keep your name out of her mouth. And lo and behold, she broke that silence. She broke that silence because she tried to do BJ investigates. I take it BJ wasn't investigating anything because that lasted for about half an hour of a life and then
Girl,
no more.
like
No
sound like
more.
you have already done started to kick off the housekeeping. So I'm gonna just let you have
Yeah,
at it.
no, no more. It lasted no more than half an hour because her best content for her is to talk ish about everybody else's business. So I take it she's back to normal service. The only difference that I can say is we're not talking about you to give you any content to be running around with. What we will tell you, because we've seen round the traps that there's so many people who got arrows aimed at you metaphorically and targeting you to take you to court. So we're going to leave those people to do what they need to do because you are your own evidence bag, as I said before. And we don't need to talk about you to have content. You need to talk about other people to have content because you cannot carry a live for more than 30 minutes that's not about dragging someone. Well, you proved our point. We all three of us said, all four of us said that you were going to be the first person to break that. But you seem to think that there was some sort of live where Golden happened to mention some sort of thing that gives you the right to keep talking ish because you've got nothing else. Got nothing else in your locker. You never have and you never will have because that's who you are. That's who you are. Someone who wants to talk about other people all the time. So keep talking. I love it. I love it. Prove us right every time. As for the other tomfoolery and tom effery, you know what I think about it. I do not believe that this is what we should be doing as people on the app. I am a guest in American Black culture. I love American Black culture. I've got a lot of family here. I have a lot of friends here. I've worked here and I teach history. That's one thing. The difference is I do teach this history. I teach American Black history and global Black history to young children so that they know the people that came before them and struggled to get them some of these rights that they take for granted. So I don't take anything lightly that anybody says, and I respect culture. And my sister used to teach people to respect culture. That was one of the things, that was the reason why she was employed by the US military and spoke 7 languages, because she taught people about respecting culture and religion and expecting and respecting the space that you're in when you have to. So this is why I say, people have to know where that when they're a guest in someone's house and how you should behave in and how you should be respecting what people's views are on racism, and it's not about what you think. It's about how that person has a lived experience of it. But that's just, that's just another thing. The internet's got a way of pulling us into drama, and every day there's another argument, another accusation, another feud, another personality clash. And social media algorithms reward outrage because outrage keeps people watching. And before you know it, hours, days, weeks, even years can be spent arguing with strangers whilst real opportunities pass us by. But people need to ask themselves, what are they here for? You're here to learn, to grow, to be inspired, to understand history, politics, culture, or are you just here to be consumed by conflict that adds little value to your life? I mean, disagreement is a part of life, and there are times when serious issues deserve discussion. But we also have to recognize when online conflict becomes a distraction rather than a purpose. If every conversation around revolves around personalities instead of principles, we've lost sight of what really matters. We're here to focus on content that educates, informs, and sometimes encourages, and sometimes, yeah, there's beef, and and sometimes also should encourage critical thinking. We want to explore Black history, current affairs, culture, politics, and all the stories that often don't receive the attention they deserve. And we want to celebrate achievement and learn from the past and better understand the world around us. History teaches us that real change has always come from people who stayed focused on building something meaningful. They invested their time in education, organizing, creating businesses, writing books, making discoveries, mentoring young people, and strengthening their communities. They didn't allow every criticism or every distraction to define their purpose. So, once again, I say protect your peace. Be careful where you invest your energy. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every argument deserves your attention. And sometimes the strongest decision you can make is to step away from the noise and put that time into something that improves your life. Read another chapter, learn a new skill, spend time with your family, support your community, build your businesses, improve your health, invest in your future, check on your neighbor. And let's not be remembered for the arguments we joined, but for the knowledge we shared, the people we helped, and the positive impact we made. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today for this Black History Live. Just keep learning, keep questioning. Yeah, keep beefing, but beef, kindly, not with all this venom and vitriol, and stay focused on what truly matters. Okay, help people where you can, love people, and if you don't like people, just stay the F away from them. You don't need the energy that does not benefit you. And that's all I got to say.
I love that, Imani. You always say such beautiful things. And so, just a few things that I want to add to piggyback off of what you said in your housekeeping, and then I'll get into mine. Is I think that we need to pay attention to the fact that context is always very important. And so, someone can be talking about multiple things at once, and you need to really be able to break down and understand what someone is saying. So if we are going to address commentary that was made from a certain individual based off of a post that she read, and I don't think she read it well enough. Within that post, multiple things were being discussed, right? And someone's feelings about something that had happened was attached in that post, where they also were addressing that individual at the same time about their own personal things going on with them. Because you don't understand or take the time to get the context of that, then now it makes it seem like, I guess to you, it's all bunched up into one thing, and it was multiple different things being said and addressed at that time. So again, like we said, child, we made a bet, and I told you, I said, I bet you that this person is gonna start talking again before we do. And how they did. And what I'm saying is, when it comes to that, like I said, I'm not going back to it in the back and forth, because we have too many people that do support and come to the channel to listen to our content and appreciate it, and they want it without the mess. And I heard it from them, and I am going to respect that. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to give them. I'm going to give the content, and I'm going to give the respect that people deserve. I don't want to continue to do all of this fighting and going back and forth with people. It makes people uncomfortable, and it does take time and effort away from making actual content that people do enjoy seeing, learning from, listening to, and all of the things. So with that being said, you also have to take accountability for your actions. And so, I know a lot of people probably see me last night, and I was very angry last night. And I'm not, angry and hurt, very much both. And I had to say a few things. And the way that I am is just, I don't like to talk, about it. I want to talk to you about it. And so I went to go speak directly to someone that I had an issue with. And I think it's very clear what the issues were. And it's not to say that I'm a perfect person and I'm better than anybody else, but that issue really did rub me the wrong way. And it made me angry. And I addressed it. And I noticed a lot of people, can't, feel uncomfortable when those type of things happen, because they want so much more for us as people. We can be so much more. They want so much more for the sector, the platform, and, the fighting and the vitriol and all of that. It is really getting old. And it is something that we speak against. And so when I get caught up in those moments, it's almost as if I'm a hypocrite of the things that I practice. I preach. And it seems as though I'm not practicing those things as well. But y'all know, child, when people, do you wrong and get up under your skin and you get a little bit heated and you let stuff slide for so long, then it piles up and it adds up and you kind of explode. So anyway, I do apologize for people who did feel uncomfortable in that moment. But I do appreciate y'all for, really still appreciating the content that we do over here and coming back over, returning to come back over for the content. I do. And I'm going to go ahead and dive into a little bit of what we'll be talking about. Y'all can see, based off of the thumbnails and stuff like that, a little bit of the topics that we'll be covering, but I'll give you a brief synopsis of that. Before I get into that, I think I missed the part where I said, I hope you all are having a good day. And whatever respectful time zone you're in, whether that's morning, afternoon, evening, or night, I hope you're having the most wonderful Monday. Child, we back at the top of the week. Okay, the weekend is over, but I hope you all are having a wonderful day and you're in good health and good spirits. But yeah, we are going to be taking a journey through global Black history from the past 2 weeks. So from July 13th to July 27th in this episode. Not everything, but a lot of the things that stand out. And we're going to be exploring a powerful historical events and figures and resistance movements across the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Europe, in the Caribbean, in the Latin Americas, and Africa. So from the founding of a Niagara Movement in the first Pan-African Conference in London, to the resilience of Black Loyalists in Nova Scotia, and the independence of Liberia, we're diving deep into the history that connects our global Black diaspora. So y'all, if you want to kick it with us for a little bit, grab your snack, grab your drink, and let's rock it out. And so before we get into talking about the history, and of course, per usual, we got some videos we'll show you as well. Very short, sweet, to the point with my housekeeping. Going hand in hand with what I just said, right? I've been reflecting on, the power of knowing our Black history on a global scale. We are part of a massive, beautiful diaspora. And as we connect and unite with so many incredible people across the world, it's so important that we stand tall in that. So yes, we are Black, and every single one of us should deeply be proud of our roots, our resilience, and our rich culture that we share worldwide. This is not to deter or say that we don't care about any other race, their history as well. But when we cover the Black history topics, That's what we're talking about. And for everyone who understands that and can appreciate that, we thank you. So when you know who you are and where you come from, nobody can rewrite your story. And that doesn't matter if you're in the UK, Canada, the US, the Caribbean. That brings me to a second thing that's on my heart, right, for this housekeeping. I am learning in real time that I do not have to fight to prove myself to anybody. The truth doesn't need to be forced. It is always going to settle exactly where it should. So part of stepping into more of the peace that I want to have means making moves in my personal life. I am no longer allowing people in my circle who mean me no good. When you keep toxic or negative energy around you for too long, it doesn't just sit there. It slowly eats away at your peace, and it can even start to change who you are. I value my spirit way too much for that. So, we are keeping the energy pure, keeping the love real, and we will be moving forward, like I said, in truth and unity. So, I thank you all for being here with us. So, let's get into today's stream. So, y'all, we will be reporting on some things historically over the past 2 weeks when it comes to Black global history. And of course, we have to talk about, like I said, the United States. We'll be talking about the UK. We'll be talking about Canada. We'll be talking about the Caribbean and Africa. And so, you know how me and Imani do. We bounce back and forth, child. I'm going to be covering the United States. And she'll be covering a few of the others, and then we'll do some of the rest, like tag team style, right? So let's go ahead. And before we get into our first topic, Imani, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or you want to jump right in?
Let's just jump right in to the content.
All right, girl, let's get it. Okay, so number one that we have on our list here from the United States, we have the Niagara Movement that was founded on July 11, 1905, led by W.E. Du Bois and William Monroe Trotter. 29 Black intellectuals met near Niagara Falls in Fort Erie, Ontario, after being denied hotel accommodations in Buffalo, New York. They drafted a manifesto demanding full civil rights and an end to segregation. Before the NAACP was founded, there was the Niagara Movement, and its leader had to meet in Canada because American hotels refused to host Black scholars. The movement stood in direct opposition to Booker T. Washington's Atlanta Compromise, which advocated for industrial training over immediate political rights. The group explicitly demanded full voting rights, equal education, equal employment, and an end to racial violence. Because of an internal disagreement and Washington's political pushback, the movement struggled financially, but its founders went on to help establish the NAACP in 1909. We also will be talking about, and we're going to talk about, the New York City draft riots, and that happened between July 13, 1863. Following the introduction of the U.S. military draft during the Civil War, working class Caucasian mobs, predominantly Irish immigrants, rioted in NYC. They targeted Black residents, burning homes, lynching individuals, and torching the Colored Orphan Asylum. Civil War violence wasn't restricted to southern battlefields. Black New Yorkers were targeted right in the North during the bloodiest urban riot in the United States history. The conscription allowed wealthy men to pay about $300 to buy their way out of military service, causing anger among working class laborers. Mobs redirected their anger toward free Black people, blaming them for the war and viewing them as competition for low-wage jobs. Over 100 people were killed or unalived, hundreds were injured, and thousands of Black residents fled Manhattan, drastically altering the city's Black demographics for decades. Number 3, the birth of Maggie Nina Walker, July 15, 1867. Born in Richmond, Virginia, Maggie Lena Walker Maggie Walker was a teacher, businesswoman, and activist who became the first Black African American woman to charter and serve as president of a bank in the United States. Maggie Walker proved economic independence was key to Black liberation when she founded a bank in 1903 so Black families could secure home mortgages because a lot of Black people were not able to get those things back in the day. And, it still kind of remains the same in certain areas and spaces. She served as the Grand Scribe of the Independent Order of St. Luke, a Black fraternal society that helped care for the sick, and the elderly. In 1903, she chartered the St. Luke Penny Saving Bank, encouraging community members to save their money, starting with small pocket change. By 1920, the bank had helped finance over 600 home loans for Black families in Richmond when Caucasian institutions regularly would turn them down. Then, number 4, the birth of Emmett Till. That happened in July 25th of 1941. Born on July 25th, 1941 in Chicago, Illinois, Emmett Till was a 14-year-old Black boy who was brutally kidnapped and unalived in Mississippi in 1955 after being falsely accused of whistling at a white woman. July 25th is Emmett Till's birthday. While we remember his unaliving, we also celebrate his birth. It reminds us of the young life taken and his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, and her immense bravery. Mamie Till insisted on an open casket funeral in Chicago so the world could see the brutality of white supremacy, allowing Jet magazine to publish photos of his body. The two men who unalived him, who are Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam, were acquitted by an all-white jury and later admitted to the unaliving in a paid interview with Look magazine. The public outrage over the trial and acquittal became one of the main catalysts for the modern civil rights movements, inspiring leaders such as Rosa Parks. Now we do have a few videos, y'all, because we like to take some breaks in between, so you ain't got to listen to my raspy voice the whole time. So let me go ahead and pop up this quick video, y'all, and we will be talking about for the U.S. portion, we'll be talking about the founding of the NAACP, and we also will be, listening to a video when it comes to the history of Emmett Till, and then we'll be moving on to Canada. So give me just a moment, y'all. Let me pop this up real quick, and we can listen to the audios. We got some audios, but we got some videos as well. So watch with us together. Y'all know, per usual, we will meet y'all in the chat. While I'm getting everything set up, Imani, do you have anything you want to add to that breakdown real quick?
No, I think that was really good. Thank you for that, Golden. Yeah, imagine that there were all these civil rights activists that were leading Black intellectuals, lawyers, journalists, and educators. I'm talking about the Niagara Movement that was founded in 1905. And ministers gathered. They had intended to meet in Buffalo, New York, but every hotel they approached refused to accommodate them because they were Black.
Your sound went out, Imani.
And then out of that came the formation
Okay.
because they were just wanting. Sorry, they were just wanting what was fair for them. Sorry, did you have something?
No, I was just saying for a minute there, the sound had went out. So I don't know if some of the stuff you were saying got missed because it kind of went silent.
No, I was just saying about these intellectuals wanting to meet in Buffalo, New York first, and then having to meet where they met because they weren't given a hotel room because of the color of their skin. And, they just wanted what was fair for them: equal voting rights, education, equal justice, protection from lynching, you know, They wanted what is constitutionally applied, what was constitutionally applied to everyone else. And their famous Declaration of Principles started that freedom. That freedom delayed was freedom denied. And that was revolutionary at the time. And these are the people that came before us fighting for our rights. And I'm pretty sure they weren't fighting for the rights of us arguing with middle-aged baddies on the internet. But hey, that's just me.
Girl, not middle-aged baddies on the internet. You be cracking me up. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if we're going to be serious, there's so many more serious things that we could talk about, focus on. And like I said, I think the importance of this is if we are all going to be connected, right? Like, and we're all meeting in social spaces from the big, beautiful globe that we all reside in, wherever it is we reside. And we want to kick it with each other and, really get along with one another. I think it's important for us to understand each other better. And I don't think, there's no way better for us to do that than to learn about our history, learn about our experiences, and, really care. You know what I mean? But grandma gangsters. But let's go ahead and kick it into this video real quick, y'all. This first one we have, this is going to be, talking about the founding of the NAACP. And then after that, we will get into the one about Emmett Till. So yeah, let's rock with this video together, and we're gonna meet y'all over in the chat and chat it up a bit. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining. Let's get into it.
In the early 1900s, vicious attacks against African Americans were almost as common in the North as in the South. In the summer of 1908, a white mob attacked African Americans in Springfield, Illinois. During the riot, 2 black men were lynched, dozens more injured, and homes and businesses were destroyed and burned. Thousands of African Americans fled the city in search of safety.
And this riot in the hometown of Abraham Lincoln really upsets a lot of people who had hoped for better for American race relations.
After the Springfield riot, William E. Walling, a white Harvard-educated socialist and labor reformer from Kentucky, wrote an article for a liberal periodical, The Independent, and described the violence against African Americans. Disturbed by the increasing number of attacks against blacks, he called for a large and powerful body of citizens to come to their aid.
Many whites and blacks saw the need for an organization that would be a kind of national presence, both in speaking out against this kind of racial terrorism, but also beginning to advocate politically and legally for the rights of African Americans.
Mary Ovington, a journalist and reformer, responded to Walling's article. On February 12, 1909, the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birthday, Ovington and Walling called for a national conference to address racial justice. 3 months later, black and white social workers, intellectuals, educators, reformers, and lawyers met in New York City and established the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Its founders include not only black leaders such as W.E.B. Du Bois, but reformers like Jane Addams, Rabbi Stephen Wise, a whole series of people who are coming out of women's organizations.
The mission of the NAACP was to end forced segregation and racial violence and to ensure civil liberties for all. In 1915, lawyers for the NAACP won a Supreme Court case which ruled that the grandfather clause used by some states to stop blacks from voting was unconstitutional. Another early success came in 1917, when the Supreme Court declared segregated housing was unconstitutional.
They focused on litigation, changing the laws, and so therefore they lobbied through Congress and with the president to get the federal government to transform state laws to ensure the civil rights of blacks, but also education. They believed that you could change the hearts of white America if you could re-educate them.
One way the NAACP re-educated people was through a monthly magazine called The Crisis. The magazine, edited by W.E.B. Du Bois, served as a newspaper, a literary review, and a voice for the rights of men irrespective of color or race. Du Bois wrote eloquent and forceful articles in the magazine to report and denounce racial segregation and injustice. In 1919, the NAACP published a study on the lynching and racial violence of the previous 30 years. Members of the NAACP worked continuously for anti-lynching legislation, but it never passed.
In the first decade of the NAACP's existence, it didn't get a lot of attention. It was a small organization. It never had enough money. World War I changes that. The events of the war, the politics of race during the war send hundreds of thousands of members into the organization and really transform it into a mass membership organization.
By 1920, the NAACP had more than 300 local branches across the United States and almost 100,000 members. As their numbers grew, so did their impact. In the fight against Jim Crow and segregation, the NAACP would become one of the leading protest organizations in the United States.
All right, y'all. So that was just the first little short video that I wanted to go ahead and show y'all when it came to, the founding of the NAACP. And so now the next video I'm going to go ahead and pop up on the screen for y'all is, very much extreme trigger warning, but this is a video, really quick, really short, only about 3 minutes, about Emmett Till. So I just wanted to show y'all a little bit of that, just because we're reading the Black global history, within the 2 weeks that we're in July. And so it did happen, that his birthday falls within this, segment or whatnot. So that's why we talked about it. And again, like I also said, we are very much interested in oral history. We're historians. We like to do that for fun, like just read about history and things like that. So it's not just saying it can only be about Black history. Of course, yes, we talk about that because, yeah, we're Black, but it's not to say we don't care about anybody else's history or their background as well. And those are things I believe we all should educate ourselves on, no matter what the race is, because it's important for us to get to know one another, our backgrounds, our struggles, and all of those things. So, it's very much equal opportunity. It's not, in no type of way where we don't care about any other race, because we prioritize some of the things that's going on within our race all over the globe. So I know these things get said and, people assume that that's the reason. It's not factual. It's not true. I just thought sometimes like it may not be appropriate all the time, to talk about another racist struggle because I don't know enough about it. I think they would know. But, if that's something in content that you want to see, we can do that as well. And we will do, our great due diligence as far as researching and doing the proper history to bring the facts when it comes to that. So, I just wanted to say that. But before we get into the next video, Imani, did you have a few things to say? This is going to be the video with Emmett Till.
Yeah, I mean, before you do the Emmett Till, I know you spoke about the draft riots. And even though the Civil War was fought on southern battlefields, I don't think people actually really realise about these riots that happened between the 13th and 16th of July, 1863, after the introduction of the military draft. And the violence, trigger warning, everybody, trigger warning, that was horrific. I mean, homes and businesses were burned during those riots. And one of the most shocking attacks was on an orphanage which housed more than 200 Black children. And the building was looted and set on fire. But thankfully, the staff managed to get the children out before flames engulfed that whole building. So these were the things that were going on back in the day. I mean, thank God things are better now, but people have to realize there's a lot that went on before in history that people are not talk about, because that's not one of the things that comes up regularly when you're talking about the history of Black America. So, you know, and people were fearful that emancipation would bring more Black laborers north. So it was about the increase of competition of jobs and wages. And rather than blaming political leaders, they blamed their citizens. You know, these are things that happened. This was real. This is what went on. Just the same as, strangely enough, during this week, there's been a lot of talk about Emmett Till. His birthday is the 25th, and we're running the history because we haven't been able to. So from the last date we did it, which was the 6th of July, to the 26th of July. This is why his name appears in this live. But anyway, I'll leave it to you to get the Emmett Till video.
All right, y'all, and thank you so much for that, Imani. We are going to go ahead and get into this video. We got to move it right along. We don't want to keep it up. We're trying to keep it at 2 hours if we can. So this is a very short one, just a little brief synopsis of what happened with Emmett Till. So let's get into it. Extreme trigger warning, and we will meet y'all in the chat.
The brutal murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till remains one of the darkest moments in the civil rights era. On August 20th, 1955, the Chicago teen went to visit relatives in Money, Mississippi. While there, Till and a group of friends went into a store to buy candy. Unaware of the racial tone in the Mississippi Delta, Till spoke to a white female storekeeper in a manner she deemed offensive. On August 28, 1955, the storekeeper's husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Milam, abducted Till at gunpoint from his great-uncle's home. They drove him to a shed where they took turns torturing and beating him with a pistol. The pair then drove the battered teen to the edge of the Tallahatchie River. There they ordered him to remove his clothes and shot him in the head. Then they attached a heavy fan to his neck and rolled his body into the river. On August 31st, 1955, the body of Emmett Till was discovered by two young boys. Heartbroken and grief-stricken by the brutality of her son's death, Mamie Till Bradley defiantly held an open casket funeral in Chicago for her son. She even sent pictures of his disfigured body to newspapers and magazines, saying the whole nation had to bear witness to this. Blacks, including young kids like myself, saw this horrendous picture in Jet magazine and other Black publications. In September 1955, Bryant and Milam were indicted for Emmett Till's murder. During the 3-day trial, prosecutors presented testimony from Till's great uncle and Willie Reed, an African-American sharecropper who overheard Bryant and Milam torturing Till. On September 23, 1955, after deliberating for just over 1 hour, the all-white male jury found the defendants not guilty. 7 years after their acquittal, one juror admitted during an interview that most of the jurors believed Bryant and Milam were guilty, but acquitted them because the mandatory punishment of life in prison or death seemed too harsh to impose on white men for killing a Black boy.
All right, y'all. So that was just a quick little video that I just wanted to show y'all that just basically sums everything up when it comes to, Emmett Till and that experience. And one of the things that I really want to make very clear is that, I understand that there's an experience that happened to a Black boy that happened to reside in the United States. But there have probably been stories and experiences of things that have happened to Black people in many different countries. They may not have all gotten the attention they needed to get. They may have not all ended up in the history books. But this is what I'm saying. If we care about our people, we care about all of our people. And again, y'all, like I'm saying respectfully, yes, in this moment, in this live, this is a Black History Live. But it's not to say that we don't care and respect about the struggles that other races and groups and ethnicities of people have gone through as well. At least over here, I can't speak for anybody else. And so when sometimes it's like I just don't understand. Like I understand it may not necessarily be other people's history, but it is a Black experience of history, right? And some people may have touched down on lands where that history may have been less monstrous, like you're saying, Asher, or more monstrous. We can't be sure because that's not our history. We don't know it. But if we take the time out to get to know it and fully understand it and understand the severity of it, I think that's how we can have a better understanding for one another, our struggles. And a lot of these things that our ancestors have been through, we carry in our blood, right? It has been passed down from generation to generation. And so we still walk around with, the sadness and the anger of our ancestors on top of some of the experiences that we are still having in current day time, wherever it is we reside and what we're going through. And, when people, I believe there was a conversation that was being had, and it's just like, I always say to myself, history does seem to, repeat itself. And so if someone knows the history of an Emmett Till and they look at in current day what we're seeing with a Nolan Wells, because you know the history, when you see it seeming to be playing out all over again, it fears you, it bothers you, and it warrants your attention, right? Because we don't want to go back. We don't want to continue to have those experiences. We don't want those stories to be in history books because we should not have to have those experiences, especially in 2026. And again, like I said with that case, and we reported on some of that here on our channel and how we do. Well, my channel, but I'll be back there tomorrow. But anyway, we very much understand the law as well. The law and the legal system has to play out and do its job, time frame, all of that. But we also know sometimes the law does not tell the truth. And so there's a lot of conversations that are heavy, that they're really difficult to have, and they make some people uncomfortable. And I do apologize if anybody does feel uncomfortable, but I think these conversations are important, and they're the things that we need to be discussing and talking about, opposed to fighting one another, fussing with one another. Because we have a lot going on in this world, not just in the United States where I reside, not just in the UK where Imani resides, not just in any other country where many other people may reside. Simultaneously, we all are going through something. We all are experiencing something. And I think we should be able to talk about that and try to combat against it. But that's just my personal thoughts and feelings. I don't want to hold us up too long. Imani, do you have some thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this U.S. segment here? And as we just watched Emmett Till with that situation, before we go on and move on to some Canada Black global history?
No, but just wanted to say, even though I haven't seen it and I need to go and watch it, there is the film that I think was Whoopi Goldberg in the new film about his mother.
Yes, it's called
Yeah,
Till. It's
yeah.
a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I did watch it. What am I talking about? I did watch it. Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg was in the film Till, and I'll probably be getting you to post some films that are around films and documentaries that are about events both in the US and globally around this time. But yeah. No, I haven't got anything more to add. Are you going to go? Are you going to play a song and then I'll do the global stuff?
Absolutely. That sounds like a great plan. We'll go ahead and play a song, y'all. Give y'all a little boppity bop in between. Because I know sometimes, with the history stuff, child, and how we read it and have to present it, it may not be the most interesting. But we really do appreciate y'all rocking with us. So let me go ahead and give y'all a little boppity bop. We'll take a small little song break. And then after that, we'll dive into a little bit of the Canadian Black history. All right, y'all, let's get into this song and we'll be right back.
Every page they buried, now we bring it under. Hidden in the margins, written in the scars. Built the whole nation, still they lock the doors. Now I'm kicking hinges, breaking every chain. Knowledge is my weapon, truth inside my veins. Buffalo spirit, soldier mentality. Fought for every freedom, still denied humanity. That's fact. Medicine, politics, sports, revolution. Every generation built another institution. Typewriters turned into microphones. Now we write the future with a kingdom of our own. Who built it? Who changed it? Who survived it? Now they wanna rewrite. We live it. We live history. History can't erase our victory. Never kings, queens, royal pedigree. Every generation changing history. Lift your fist, raise your voice. Freedom ain't an accident, it's a choice. The history. Title 9, open gates. Black girls flying, changing fate. Flojo speed like lightning strikes. Venus arena, changing every mic. Breaking every bracket, every stereotype. Pressure make diamonds, now we shining bright. Dr. Bristow, white coats, black excellence. Leadership, pure intelligence. Randolph March didn't beg, demand it. Power never given, it's commanded. Stonewall nights, fire in the streets. Marsha stood tall, wasn't face to face. Stand up. Different identities, one common cause. Justice don't discriminate, neither do these bars. They fear an educated woman, fear an organized people. Feel united movement, come on, because truth always outlives evil. Africa calling, Caribbean flames. Freedom ain't geography, it's breaking chains. Mozambique rising, colonizers falling. Every freedom fighter still here, I'm calling. Madagascar, South Africa, to Mandela dream. Now the whole world knew. Barefoot runner, Olympic gold. Couldn't chain greatness, couldn't buy that soul. You say fast, riches. Every black champion worth more than gold. WW1 World War, still ignore. I came back home, started every war against oppression, against fear, against lies. Now our voices touch the skies. Build up, they can censor books, but not the people. Hide our names, but not the sequel. Every child, every elder, every mother, every teacher, every freedom preacher, we are the race. History, not your version. History, tell them, build civilizations, change the world, still standing, still demanding, still expanding. Black excellence, black resistance, black persistence. Every single, dingle. History ain't behind us, it's inside us. Inside us. If they erase one page, we'll write 10 more. If they close one door, we'll build 10 more. Hey, this ain't just remembrance. This is recruitment for the next generation. Let's go! Wait, the history. manifest, kill the Aztecs, stole a planet.
All right, y'all. So anyway, moving forward, because basically how you have to do in life sometimes, shot, you just gotta keep forward marching ahead. So I was trying to play an additional song or whatnot. But apparently the song is not playing. Can y'all hear me talking? Or y'all can't hear no audio? Can y'all hear me on the mic, or you just can't hear the music? Okay, y'all can hear me on the mic, but the music is not playing. Okay, got it. All right. Well, we don't have a lot of time anyway, so we'll just go ahead and move forward. We will play or attempt to play some songs or whatnot as we continue to go through. But this is Imani's portion, and so she's going to be covering some things when it comes to Canadian Black history. Imani, I'll let you take the floor, girl.
You is funny. Right. So let's talk about Canada's first race riot in Birchtown and Shelburne on the 26th of July, 1794. When people think about Canada and Black history, they often think about the Underground Railroad, a place where enslaved African Americans to escape to find freedom. And that's certainly part of Canada's story, but it's not the whole story. So long before the Underground Railroad reached its peak, thousands of Black loyalists arrived in Nova Scotia after fighting for the British during the American Revolutionary War. The British had promised them their freedom and a fresh start in exchange for their military service. Many of these men and women had escaped slavery in the American colonies and risked their lives fighting alongside British forces. They believed they had earned the opportunity to build a prosperous new life in the British North America. One of the largest settlements they established was Birchtown near Shelburne, Nova Scotia. At the time, Birchtown became the largest free Black settlement in North America outside Africa, but the promises made to Black loyalists were largely broken. Nothing new about that. So whilst white loyalist soldiers often received large, fertile plots of land close to established communities, Black settlers were frequently given smaller plots, rocky or infertile land, delayed land grants, or no land at all. Many waited years for the land they had been promised. Unable to farm successfully, many Black families were forced into low-paid manual labor simply to survive. Ironically, many found themselves working for white loyalists who had also fled America. Then there were rising tensions. As Shelburne grew, white labourers became increasingly resentful. Instead of blaming government officials for poor planning and broken promises, they blamed the black workers. Rumours spread that black labourers were willing to work for lower wages. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar. It's like the migrant fights we're having now.
Absolutely.
Economic frustration quickly turned into racial hatred, and on the 26th of July, 1784, white mobs attacked black workers and homes. Buildings were destroyed, families fled, people were beaten and threatened. It's trigger warning, sorry guys. The violence continued for around 10 days, making it one of the earliest documented race riots in North American history. Now, why does this matter? Well, the Shelburne Birchtown riots remind us that freedom did not automatically bring equality. Although slavery had been escaped, discrimination remained, and many historians describe the event as Canada's first recorded race riot, showing that anti-Black racism existed throughout North America, not only in the United States. The journey to Sierra Leone. So years of poverty and discrimination convinced many Black Loyalists that Nova Scotia would never provide the equality they had been promised. And in 1792, more than 1,200 Black Loyalists left Nova Scotia and sailed to West Africa. There they helped establish Freetown, Sierra Leone, creating one of the first modern settlements founded by formerly enslaved Africans returning to the continent. Their descendants continue to shape Sierra Leone today. And why does this matter? The story challenges the myth that Canada was simply a land of freedom. Instead, it reminds us that Black history in North America includes both resilience and struggle on both sides of the border. Canada offered freedom from slavery, but freedom did not always mean equality. The people of Birchtown escaped bondage only to face broken promises, discrimination, and racial violence. Yet their determination eventually helped establish Freetown in Sierra Leone, creating another remarkable chapter in the global African diaspora. That's interesting. And then our second
Very
story is about Marianne Shadd Carey. Following the passage of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, even free Black Americans in northern states lived in fear. The law allowed escaped enslaved people to be captured almost anywhere in the United States, while those accused of being fugitives had very limited legal protections. Even free Black citizens could be kidnapped and sold into slavery. One remarkable woman refused to live under those conditions. Her name was Mary Ann Shadd Carey. Rather than simply seeking safety, she crossed into Canada West, now Ontario, with a vision of helping others to build independent lives. Shadd believed education was the key to lasting freedom. Soon after arriving, she established one of Canada's first racially integrated schools, at a time when many schools remained segregated or excluded Black children altogether. Her school welcomed students regardless of race. She believed equality had to be practiced, not merely discussed. In 1853, Mary Ann Shadd Carey founded the Provincial Freeman, becoming the first Black woman newspaper publisher in North America. Her newspaper became one of the most influential voices in Black Canadian history. Every week, it encouraged education, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, political participation, and equal citizenship. She argued that Black people should build strong institutions while demanding equal rights. Unlike many reformers, Shadd Carey did not reserve criticism solely for the United States. She openly challenged anti-Black prejudice in Canada as well. She reminded readers that crossing the border did not automatically eliminate racism. Instead, she urged Black communities to organise, educate themselves, and demand equal opportunities wherever they lived. After the Civil War, Marianne returned to the United States. Most people would have considered retirement after her decades of activism. Instead, she enrolled at Howard University and earned a law degree in her 60s. She later became active in the women's suffrage movement, arguing that both racial equality and gender equality were essential to democracy. Marianne Shad-Carey transformed journalism to activism. She demonstrated that newspapers could educate communities, challenge injustice, and inspire social change. Today, she is remembered as one of the most important Black journalists and educators in North American history. She didn't just cross the border to escape oppression. She crossed the border to build schools, publish newspapers, and prove that Black excellence could flourish wherever the opportunity existed. And that's my bit on Canada. Do you want me to move on to the United Kingdom, or do you want to do the United Kingdom, my dear?
No, not just yet, Imani. I want you to do the United Kingdom because, girl, you live in the United Kingdom. So who knows better than you do, girl? But we do have, just a few videos, two really short ones that I wanted to show, just so we can keep things very entertaining and not so, we're just reading history. I like to put some videos up because, some of us like to hear things and some of us like to see things. I know I'm a very visual person. So I have a few videos that I'm gonna go ahead and share and put up real quick about exactly what you were talking about. And so it's very interesting, to hear because one of the things that I love is learning something new. And I didn't know that, you know what I mean? And so by doing our due diligence of research and, finding out really what is going on in the big, beautiful globe and other countries that maybe we don't reside in, I think that that's excellent. But yeah, I have a few videos to show for that. And then we'll go ahead and get to the UK history. Does that sound okay? Imani?
Sorry, what was that?
I said we're going to go ahead and play these two clips, within the Canadian Black history. And then we'll go ahead and get into the UK. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and hop into it. And we'll meet y'all over in the chat.
Black History Month is celebrated in February in Canada. Throughout the month, Canadians celebrate the achievements and contributions of Black people in Canada and beyond. It has been celebrated in different provinces at different times, but a pivotal moment was the formation of the Ontario Black History Society in 1978. The following year, the Society petitioned Toronto to recognise February as Black History Month. Nova Scotia did so almost a decade later in 1988, and other provinces followed. In 1995, a motion was introduced to the Canadian House of Commons by Jean Augustine, the first Black woman elected to Parliament in Canada. Following this, the House of Commons recognised February as Black History Month. The last bit of legislature was passed in 2008 when Donald Oliver, the first Black man appointed to the Canadian Senate, passed a motion to officialise February as Black History Month in Canada.
All right, y'all, and we have one more. Let me go ahead and pop that up on the screen. Give me just a few minutes. And this one is really short. It was something that was interesting to me because, sometimes we never know, like, we understand, we all are pretty much mixed up with a little bit of something, and you just never know, like, people's background and things like that and what maybe, they may be mixed up with and, maybe where they originate from. And a lot of times people do travel, they make their trips, and they may, land in the United States, but that's maybe not necessarily. I just wanted to go ahead and show this real quick, and then we'll be moving on. And as you touched on, it's also going to show a bit about Marianne Shad. If I'm saying that right, Shad or Shad. But yeah, we're going to be playing that, and then we'll be moving into the UK Black history. Let's get into it, y'all. We'll meet y'all in the chat.
In celebration of Black History Month 2020, we've decided to put together this video series on 10 Black Canadians who helped shape our country into what it is today. Enjoy. Mary Ann Shadd was a Black Canadian-American schoolteacher who became the first female publisher in Canada. Mary Ann Shadd was born to free Black parents in Wilmington, Delaware, USA, on October 9, 1823. At that time, slavery was legal in the state of Delaware. Shadd's parents were abolitionists who opposed slavery. For several years, their Delaware home served as a station on the Underground Railroad, a network by which escaped slaves could make their way to freedom in Canada. Mary Ann Shadd was the first of 13 siblings. When she was 10 years old, her parents sent her to Pennsylvania. There, she studied at a Quaker-run boarding school along with her brothers and sisters. After studying for 6 years, 16-year-old Mary Shadd returned to her hometown. There, she founded a school for Black children and began working as a teacher. Her educational career took her all over the northeastern United States, from New York City to Trenton, New Jersey, to Norristown, Pennsylvania. Wherever she went, Mary Ann Shadd taught at all Black schools. In 1850, the United States Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Act. This nasty piece of legislation required free American citizens of all states to capture escaped slaves and return them to their masters. Those accused of being runaway slaves who could not provide irrefutable proof of citizenship were destined for the plantation. Afraid that they might be wrongfully accused, Mary Ann Shadd and her brother, Isaac, moved to Windsor, Ontario. There, Mary acquired a teaching position at an all-Black school in Windsor's rough Sandwich district. Her and Isaac's family followed them into British territory shortly thereafter. Like many of the courageous Canucks on our list of 10 famous Black Canadians, Mary Ann Shadd was a natural pioneer. Accordingly, she embodied a characteristic common to all great Canadian trailblazers, a belief in the virtue of self-reliance. Another core value which defined Mary Ann Shadd was her strong belief in racial integration. Unlike many of her Black Canadian contemporaries, she opposed the idea of Black separatism and ghettoization, and believed that it was in the interest of all Canadians for Blacks and whites to live together as equals. Mary Ann Shadd attempted to instill her values in her students and opened her schoolhouse to both Blacks and whites. When her benefactors eventually withdrew funding for her school on account of religious differences, she decided to share her ideas with a wider audience. In the spring of 1853, she established the Provincial Freeman, a newspaper written for a Black audience. Therein, she expounded the virtues of self-reliance, put forth arguments in favor of integration, and encouraged Black Americans to immigrate to Canada. In true pioneer fashion, her newspaper's motto was, "Self-reliance is the true road to independence." In this way, Mary Ann Shadd became the first Black female publisher in North America and the first woman publisher in Canada. In the spring of 1854, Shadd moved to Toronto, Ontario, where she could better run her newspaper. There, she met and married a barber named Thomas Carey. After the wedding, she moved with her new husband to Chatham, Ontario, where her chief editor lived. There, she and Thomas had 2 children, Sarah and Linton. Mary Shadd, now Mary Carey, spent the rest of the 1850s raising her family and editing the Provincial Freeman. In 1859, the Provincial Freeman went under, forcing Mary Carey to return to her former profession, education. She began teaching at an integrated school in Chatham. The following year, her husband, Thomas, passed away. In 1861, civil war broke out in the United States. Mary Carey and her family took a keen interest in this conflict, hopeful that it might bring an end to slavery in America once and for all. In fact, Mary's brother, Isaac, had played an important role in a pre-Civil War conflict known as the Raid on Harper's Ferry, allowing his home in Windsor to be used as a sort of war room for militant American abolitionists who went on to raid a United States armory in what is now West Virginia. Eventually, Mary Carey, at the invitation of African-American abolitionist Martin Delany, moved to the United States to take part in the Civil War. In Indiana, she served as a recruiting officer, using the skills she had honed as a journalist to convince black men to enlist in the anti-slavery Union Army. After the end of the American Civil War, which saw the emancipation of slaves all across America, Mary Carey turned once again to teaching. She taught briefly in Detroit, Michigan, before taking her trade to Wilmington, Delaware. Eventually, she took a teaching position in Washington, D.C. After teaching in the American capital for some time, she attended the newly established Howard University Law School and graduated as a lawyer in 1883. In this way, 60-year-old Mary Carey became the second black female lawyer in the United States. She passed away in Washington, D.C. on June 5, 1893, at the age of 69. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more Canadian...
All right, y'all. So that was just a little video I wanted to share you know, as far as us reading some of the history for you. Sometimes, you know, the videos for myself as well. I like watching videos and seeing graphics and audios and things like that. So I wanted to just go ahead and play a few of those before we move into the UK sector. Go ahead, Imani. What's going on, girl?
Well, yeah, I see Snoopy came into the chat. Now listen, Snoopy, if you haven't come here to learn about Black history, move the fuck on. I don't know what's wrong with you. Stay on your channel, do your toxic content, and leave us alone. I'm sick of it. Go and show your receipts to your own audience. We don't need it. We're not interested. Go and strike up a live and talk your shit, because that's all you do. If you don't want a history lesson, move around.
I love you, girl. Yeah, you know, like respectfully, we're in the middle of a production right now. And we're talking about some serious topics and things of that nature. And a lot of the people who come to watch our content, they actually enjoy what we talk about when we do our global Black history. And, you know, it's just, I don't think it's very nice for you to come and try to interrupt our, you know, our broadcast. If you have something you want to talk about, it can be discussed at a later time, but this is not the time, nor is it the place. And so we don't want that energy over here, because we have a lot of people who actually care about what we are discussing on this live as far as history. So, you know, that's just it, no. But anyway, girl, Imani, we are moving right along. And I know you're going to go ahead and give us a beautiful coverage on some Black global history when it comes to the United Kingdom and Europe. You want to tap right into that?
Yeah, I'm going to tap right into that. Okay. Now, when it comes to UK Black history, there were some significant events, significant events that happened. And I'm trying to find my place because people come here to distract for foolishness. Right. First of all, we had the first Pan-African Conference in London it was July the 23rd to the 25th, 1900. It was organized by the Trinidadian barrister Henry Sylvester Williams. Delegates from across Africa, the Caribbean, and North America met at Westminster Town Hall in London to address the European colonial exploitation and demand self-governance. W.E. Du Bois, as the French say it, attended as chairman of the committee and drafted the address to the nations of the world, which included his famous phrase, "The problem of the 20th century is the problem of the colour line." The conference sent a formal petition to Queen Victoria requesting better treatment and political rights for Black subjects in South Africa and the West Indies. This event laid the groundwork for future Pan-African congresses that helped fuel anti-colonial movements across Africa in the mid-20th century. Then, on July 28th, 1833, was the Slavery Abolition Act. It was passed in British Parliament. The British Parliament passed the Slavery Abolition Act in late July 1833. officially abolishing slavery across most of the British Empire, and it was effective the 1st of August 1834. When Britain abolished slavery, they paid 20 million in compensation, not to the formerly enslaved people, but to the slave owners for their lost property. The 20 million payout equaled roughly 40% of the British government's annual budget at the time and required a massive loan that British taxpayers did not finish paying off until 2015. Instead of immediate freedom, enslaved workers over the age of 6 were forced into an apprenticeship system, requiring them to work unpaid for their former masters for several additional years. Popular resistance and protests across the Caribbean forced the British government to abandon the apprenticeship system early in 1838. Now, moving on to the Caribbean and Latin America, excuse me, international
Imani,
Afro-Latin,
Imani,
sorry?
did you want to power through, or did you? Because we have some
Oh,
videos to
yes,
start.
yes, I did have some other stuff that was on Black
Okay,
History.
just the
Yeah, I mean,
videos. I have little clips and stuff like that. So
yeah, I
before we
mean,
move on to the Caribbean, I have some for the British, and
right,
the
because we had the NHS that began its new era. It opened on the 5th of July, 1948. We covered that last time, and staff shortages led to the recruitment of thousands of nurses, doctors, and healthcare workers from Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago, Guyana, Nigeria, Ghana, and other Commonwealth countries. The NHS became one of Britain's greatest institutions, but its success depended heavily on Black, Caribbean, and African professionals. Their contribution transformed the healthcare system and continues to shape the NHS today. On the 7th of July 1958, we had Claudia Jones, who expanded British journalism. During July 1958, Claudia Jones used the West Indian Gazette to campaign against discrimination while promoting Caribbean culture and political participation. It matters because the West Indian Gazette became Britain's first major Black newspaper, giving Caribbean communities a voice largely absent from mainstream media. Jones also laid the foundations for what would become the Notting Hill Carnival, which will be happening next month. Then, on the 8th to the 10th of July, we had the Brixton Uprising. The Brixton Uprising erupted after years of tension between Black communities and the police, fueled by unemployment, discrimination, and the controversial sus laws. The unrest quickly spread to Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester, and other cities. The uprising forced Britain to confront racial inequality, policing practices, and it led directly to the Scarman Report, which recognized that racial disadvantage and poor police community relations had contributed to the disturbances. Now, on the 12th of July, this is a famous case in the UK. Doreen Lawrence's, this was 12th of July 1997. Doreen Lawrence, who is the mother of Stephen Lawrence, her Cane for Justice gained national momentum. Following the murder of her son, Stephen Lawrence, his mother, Doreen Lawrence, continued a relentless campaign throughout the summer of 1997 to secure justice and reform. Why does this matter? Well, her determination led to the landmark Macpherson Report, which concluded that the Metropolitan Police was institutionally racist. The report transformed policing, race relations, and equality policy across Britain. And obviously, we also had honourable mention for the Windrush generation. There's lots more stuff that we could talk about, but we want to make it kind of short and sweet today because we had to get through quite a bit over 3 weeks. And this week reminds us that Black British history is not a story on the margins. It's central to Britain's modern identity. It's a story of the Windrush generation answering Britain's call to help to recover from war. It's the story of Caribbean nurses, doctors, and transport workers whose dedication helps sustain essential public services. It's also the story of people like Doreen Lawrence, who turned unimaginable personal tragedy because her son was unalived by white racists. And she turned that into a movement that transformed policing and forced Britain to confront institutional racism. Okay, that's it for the UK.
All right, girl. That was excellent. Thank you so much for that reading. So, like I said, y'all, we like to do a little bit of videos in between y'all just to chop it up a little bit. So you don't have to just hear us talk the entire time. And so, one of the great things that, Imani was able to read to us about the history when it comes to the UK is how the British Empire ended the slave trade. And so I do have a few videos here that I want to show y'all that are very short. We will watch them together. And as we watch, we will meet y'all in the chat. This is excellent history. A lot of the things, I am learning myself for the first time. And I think that's what it's about, for us to educate ourselves and stay educated. Because an educated person in this world, child, you get a lot further when you know what you know when you know it. But let's get into this video, y'all. I hope you are enjoying it. We will meet y'all in the chat.
The abolition of slavery in the British Empire was a gradual and complex process, involving a combination of moral, economic, and political factors. The origins of this movement can be traced back to the late 18th century. Initially, the transatlantic slave trade and slavery were central to the economy of many British colonies, especially in the Caribbean. The profits from plantations in these colonies, which relied heavily on slave labour, significantly contributed to Britain's wealth. However, by the late 18th century, a growing moral and humanitarian opposition to slavery began to emerge. This movement was partly inspired by the Enlightenment ideals of liberty and equality, as well as by the religious convictions of groups like the Quakers and the Evangelicals. One of the early and pivotal figures in the British abolitionist movement was William Wilberforce, a Member of Parliament. Wilberforce, influenced by his Christian faith and his friendship with anti-slavery campaigners like Thomas Clarkson and Granville Sharp, dedicated his political career to ending the slave trade and slavery. He first introduced a bill to abolish the slave trade in 1789, but it was not until 1807 that the Slave Trade Act was passed, making the slave trade illegal throughout the British Empire. This did not, however, free those who were already enslaved. The campaign to end slavery itself, rather than just the trade, gained momentum in the following decades. The anti-slavery movement utilized a variety of tactics, from parliamentary petitions to boycotts of sugar produced by slave labor. The movement was also aided by the testimonies and writings of former slaves, such as Olaudah Equiano and Mary Prince, which provided first-hand accounts of the horrors of slavery. The economic landscape was also changing during this period. The Industrial Revolution was altering the economic structure of Britain, reducing the relative importance of the West Indian colonies and their slave-produced goods. Moreover, the continuous slave rebellions in the colonies, most notably the 1831-1832 Baptist War, led by Samuel Sharp in Jamaica, highlighted the growing unfeasibility and moral indefensibility of maintaining slavery. Finally, in 1833, the Slavery Abolition Act was passed, largely due to the efforts of Wilberforce and others. This act came into effect on August 1, 1834, and it initially provided for a transitional period of apprenticeship for the former slaves. Full emancipation was achieved in 1838, marking the end of slavery in most parts of the British Empire. The abolition of slavery in the British Empire was significant not only for its immediate impact, but also for its influence on other nations. It set a precedent and provided a moral and practical framework for international abolitionist movements, contributing to the eventual end of legal slavery worldwide.
All right, y'all. So thanks for rocking with us with that quick little video break there, just to give a little bit more context about what happened, in the UK and Britain, as far as, the slave trade, slavery, and the abolishment of all of that. Which is what, a lot of Imani was speaking on, if you guys would listen. But I like to add those videos in. So y'all let me know if y'all like those videos, if you want me to keep doing that. But we're gonna go ahead and move forward, y'all, because we don't want to hold you too long. We know that you're here for a good time and not a long time. So, Imani, would you like to go ahead and tap into the next segment of the live, or did you have any comments you want to give, as far as finalizing things for the UK history?
No, just apologies to the chat and the people watching for my bad language, but sometimes my patience wears thin. I apologize. But I'm going to
It
move on
happens.
to the Caribbean. What were you going
It
to
happens.
say?
I said it happens, girl. It happens. It's okay.
Yeah,
Go with it
right. The
accordingly.
Caribbean and Latin America. The International Afro-Latin American and Afro-Caribbean Women's Day was established on July the 25th. Established in 1992 during the first meeting of Afro-Latin American and Afro-Caribbean women in the Dominican Republic, July 25th is observed across Latin America to recognize contributions and struggles of Afro-descendant women. It's a day created to fight both racial and gender discrimination across the Americas. Over 300 Black women from 32 countries gathered in 1992 to address systemic invisibility, poverty, sexual violence, and political underrepresentation. The summit led to the formation of the Network of Afro-Latin American, Afro-Caribbean, and Diaspora Women, RMAAD. Today, countries like Brazil, Colombia, and the Dominican Republic hold official cultural events, legislative discussions, and marches on July the 25th to honor leaders like Marielle Franco and Francia Marquez. Then I'll just move on to Africa, and I'll talk about the birth of the Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia on July the 23rd, 1892. Born in Tafari, Makonnen in Harar province, Ethiopia, he was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I in 1930 and became a symbol of African sovereignty and anti-colonial resistance. July the 23rd is his birthday, a key figure in African independence who successfully stood against Italian fascism. Ethiopia was one of only two African nations, along with Liberia, that maintained independence during the European scramble for Africa. Selassie delivered a speech to the League of Nations in 1936 condemning Italy's illegal invasion and use of chemical weapons against his country. He helped found the Organization of African Unity in 1963 in Addis Ababa, and he's revered by the followers of the Rastafari movement as a spiritual figure. And on July the 26th, 1847, was the founding of Liberia. The West African nation of Liberia declared its independence, becoming the first independent republic on the African continent. Liberia was established by three Black Americans, free as in Free, who returned to Africa in the 1800s, forming a unique republic modeled after the US Constitution. The country was established through the American Colonization Society, an organization supported by both free Black people seeking freedom and white slavers who wanted to remove free Black populations from the US. The Americo-Liberian settlers modeled their government flag and constitution on the United States, and named the capital Monrovia after US President James Monroe. Tensions between the Americo-Liberian minority settlers and the indigenous African populations influenced the country's social and political history for well over a century. And then I'm just going to go through my quick run through on the Caribbean and Africa for anything else that you guys might need to know. Oh, we talked about CARICOM last time, actually, we were here. We also, the University of the West Indies on the 10th of July, 1973, expanded regional education. Throughout July 1973, the University of the West Indies continued expanding programs across Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and the wider Caribbean. Why does this matter? Well, the University of the West Indies has educated many of the region's prime ministers, judges, scientists, doctors, economists, writers, and business leaders. It remains one of the Caribbean's greatest educational institution and has played a vital role in developing regional leadership. And then we had Vivian Richards dominating world cricket on 11th of July 1983. Viv Richards was one of the world's leading batsmen and a central figure in the West Indies cricket team. West Indies cricket became a symbol of Caribbean excellence and unity and confidence. So Vivian Richards' fearless style inspired generations and demonstrated that small island nations could dominate the global sporting stage. That's it for my Caribbean run through. In Africa, there really was just a lot of people like Malawi gaining independence. The Freedom Charter was adopted in South Africa on the 7th of July, 1955. Which was South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. Well, that mattered because the Freedom Charter became the ideological foundation of the anti-apartheid movement and later influenced South Africa's democratic institution after apartheid ended. And I think that's it. That's all. There's a lot of stuff that I think we've done before about independence and Patrice Lumumba leading the Democratic Republic of Congo. But that's it for me.
All right, Imani, thank you so much for reading through that all so well. So we are going to go ahead and tap into a few videos, y'all, just as we wrap up this live, because we've come to the end of some of the historical moments throughout, like we said, the past 2 weeks, from the 13th all the way up to the 27th of July, historically, globally, when it comes to Black history. And we wanted to just bring a little bit and touch a little bit of all of that for y'all to hear about, because we all have great, prideful histories that we can, really talk about and be proud of as Black people all over the beautiful globe, right? But let me go ahead and we're going to get into this video. And this is what a little bit of Imani touched on as well when it comes to the, Afro, Latina, American, and Afro-Caribbean Women's Day, which is a day that they have, deemed a holiday and they celebrate. They go all out, child. It's very beautiful. So I want to go ahead and show that to y'all real quick. And then we have a few more we'll show. We'll give our final thoughts and we'll wrap this up and let y'all get out of here so you can enjoy the rest of your Monday. Let's play this together and we will meet y'all in the chat.
The Day of Afro-Latin American, Afro-Caribbean, and Diaspora Women is a milestone in the struggle of Black women. In 1992, women of African descent gathered on July 25th in the Dominican Republic to build bridges and raise visibility for their agendas. We spoke with activists and women from different countries in the region about the struggles in their territories. The experience of Black women often ends up falling into an abyss, even in public policy. So having this date centered on women is essential for us to ensure more people understand that if we focus generally, women are left out. Truly left out. I think there are more and more activists and the Black movement itself pushing harder for this. Black women, as you mentioned, are the heads of the main movements, but often when it comes to receiving returns, those impacts land on our bodies.
In Ecuador, the Afro Communications Collective has been fighting for the right to a radio frequency, understanding that anti-racist communication by women of African descent is fundamental to building a just society.
We had also seen the need because there were many women's and grassroots organizations where communication was lacking. So there was also a contribution to be made there, right? Ensuring that they don't leave out everything they do. So very little is known about all the work of Black grassroots organizations because they effectively lack this communication access, which is important.
In Argentina, Afro organizations are drafting a bill for July 25th to be recognized as a national day.
Exactly. What we are going to propose is that July 25th be declared the National Day of Afro-descendant, Afro, Latin American, Afro-Caribbean, and diaspora, women, lesbians, bisexuals, transvestites, trans, non-binary, intersex, and other gender identities and expressions. We were more than 20, almost 30 at some point, all working together in a coordinated way, even though we know there are differences within the movement itself. I mean, like every movement, it has its differences, but we were able to achieve this, which I think is also an expression of, well, not just intelligence, right? That we have to know how to articulate our common demands among ourselves.
The historic 1992 event leaves a legacy that is still reflected today in the movements, in the collectivity, in care, and in recognition throughout the region.
We feel sad on one hand and very victorious on the other for recognizing, after so much time, that we are heirs to these great and deep roots of dignity, battle, creation, and survival. And I certainly believe that in Black women, there are answers to profound social change. So if anything is to be written about what you are going to say, it is that we must keep betting on Black women and keep betting on these spaces of ours, of us, of us.
All right, y'all. So that was one video that I wanted to show y'all. Like I said, these are very short because we're keeping it short for y'all. So now we're going to go ahead and get into something else that Imani covered as well back in 37. Emperor, if I'm saying this right, Haile Selassie, am I saying that right, Imani? In his visit to Jamaica. We're going to play that video, y'all. So I'm going to put that one up. And she'll let me know when she come back if I pronounce that right or not, y'all. Y'all know I will butcher up a word, y'all. But I'll be trying. But let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of this while she gets her mic and stuff fixed. She's doing some mic issue fixes, so she'll be right back. Let's watch this together, y'all, and we'll meet you in the chat. All right, girl, you came back just in time because I think I butchered that. Now, I was trying to tell you, I was talking about, and I have a video here with Emperor, is it Haile Selassie? Is that it? Did I say that right?
Haile Selassie.
Selassie, okay. And his
Haile
visit to
Selassie.
Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the next video we're going to play. After this video, y'all, we only got one more. We're going to give our final thoughts, feelings, opinions, and statements. And we end it with a bop per usual. We'll let y'all get out of here. But thank you so much for rocking with us the entire time. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate y'all for coming back as well. And so let's go ahead and get into this video, y'all. And we'll meet you in the chat.
Undaunted by the driving rain, a sea of faces awaited at the Palisados Airport the arrival of a living legend. To some, he was the King of Kings, the Lion of Judah, even a god. But to most, he was a mild-mannered monarch who had won the respect and admiration of Jamaicans. The air was charged with excitement as anxious, expectant faces searched the skies for the first glimpse of the great silver bird that would bring their hero to Jamaican soil for the first time. The Rastafarians were easily distinguished by their long beards and unshorn locks, and who worshipped this figure as a deity were present in full force. Now, the most rousing, boisterous, tumultuous welcome ever given to any visiting or local celebrity, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, arrived. The crowd erupted into a frenzy of rejoicing as they broke through the lines of soldiers and police and surged out onto the tarmac, eager to engulf the emperor with their affection. The ceremonial welcome that was planned had to be abandoned as the avalanche of men, women, and children swept away all semblance of order. Ethiopia, a monarchy on the eastern side of Africa, has been governed since 1930 by Haile Selassie, whom history records as being a direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Jamaica was among the places visited by His Imperial Majesty on his tour of the Caribbean area.
All right, y'all. So I'm sorry. I had to just stop that video right there because it's longer than what I expected it to be. And I can't play it too long now. I can't play too much. I gotta find the short videos for y'all. But that's just a little bit of an intro to give you some visualization of what we've been discussing throughout the history. And we read it, you hear my voice and Imani's voice. But I know sometimes breaking it up with songs and videos as well makes it a little bit less boring in school, like, you know what I mean? But anyway, Imani, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take this one, girl.
Sorry, yeah, when he did visit Jamaica, there was such a big crowd. He was so overwhelmed. He literally got back into the plane because he was so shocked at the amount of people that were there to greet him. And yeah, if I with some people, there's actually a song that Bob Marley did that was a remake of another song, and it's called, and they played it at his funeral, and it's got the actual Rasta drums beating at the beginning. It's called Selassie is the Chapel. It's based on another song that an older song, but it's actually a very good song, and you'll hear that song actually played at Bob Marley's funeral as well. It's quite a common one nowadays for Rasta funerals, but yeah, he was quite amazed at the amount of people that came to greet him at the plane. But yeah, you know, as I said, in Rasta culture, that it's a very important person, just like Marcus Garvey as well, who I believe is born around about this time as well.
And there's so many, important, activists and just people in general that spoke up or, put maybe their lives on the line or decided to stand for justice and for truth all over the globe, right? Especially when we're talking about Black history, Black people. We are all Black, okay? And I know we come from different countries and reside in different countries, but we all still live a Black experience. And historically, there's been many great people that have been fighting for justice in that country, in that area, long before we came along. And I think it's up to us to take the, baton and run with it, because we do see in our lives, not just in the country I reside in, but I guess other Black people may see it in the countries they reside in as well, that there's sometimes a shift or a movement to try and take us back in history or take us back to the past. And we are saying, no, we're not going back. And so in order for us to know how we foot ourselves in the future, we must understand our history. And so that's why I believe it's very important. And also, when we want to connect with each other and learn more about each other and understand each other more, it also helps for us to look at our roots, our past, the things that our people have been through. And like I said, y'all, respectfully right now on this live, this is about Black history, but it doesn't mean that that's the only history that we care about. We care about everybody's history. And we can talk about that. We just, to me personally, I just feel like I wouldn't do it in any due diligence, but I don't want to overstep my bounds. But to get to know my fellow people, no matter if you're Black, you're brown, you're Spanish, you're Asian, I want to know about my people. And if I don't know, then I feel like to get to know you better, I need to know your history better. And so that's why we enjoy doing content like this, y'all. But I have a final thoughts that I'm gonna leave us with. But Imani, would you like to go first with your final thoughts? Because I know it's later there for you than it is for me. So I think I'll let you go first, and I'll wrap it up after you're done.
Okay, yeah. As we come to the close of this program on Black history, remember that history teaches us over and over again that progress has never been easy, but it's always been possible. We've traveled this week. We've traveled through centuries of Black history, from the determination of the Niagara Movement demanding equal rights, to the courage of Black Loyalists in Canada, to the vision of Pan-African leaders meeting in London, to the resilience of African nations forging their own paths towards independence. We've remembered pioneers who built banks, founded newspapers, challenged unjust laws, established schools, and inspired movements that changed the course of history. None of these men and women knew exactly how history would judge them. They simply believed that tomorrow could be better than today, and they were prepared to do the work to make it happen. Their stories remind us that our greatest inheritance is not one of victimhood, but one of perseverance. We descend from people who survived slavery, colonialism, segregation, and discrimination, yet still built universities, businesses, nations, churches, families, scientific discoveries, works of art, and movements for justice that transformed the world. This is a legacy to celebrate. So wherever you're watching from, whether you're in the US, the Caribbean, Africa, Canada, the United Kingdom, or anywhere else in our global community, remember that Black history is world history. It's the story of inventors and educators, freedom fighters and entrepreneurs, artists and athletes, leaders and ordinary people who chose courage over fear and hope over despair. And as we leave today, don't just carry these stories with you, let them inspire you. Read another book, learn about someone you've never heard of, support Black businesses, encourage a young person, share the knowledge with your family, build something that will outlive you. Because history is not only about the names we remember, it's about the lives we choose to live today. And in the next chapter of history is being written right now, and every one of us has the opportunity to contribute to it through kindness, excellence, integrity, and service. That's everybody's history. So thank you for joining us for another edition of the Black History. And like I always say, till next time, stay informed, stay curious, stay compassionate, and never underestimate the power of knowledge, because when we understand where we've come from, we're better equipped to shape where we're going. Thank you. Love you guys lots. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for giving your time. And apologies for my little outburst earlier, but sometimes I get a little bit of Tourette's and I can't help it. And I'll speak to you guys soon.
We understand, girl. We understand. And thank you so much for always joining me. And we do great work together and bringing your knowledge and pairing it with my knowledge. And, just bringing some information that may be useful if anybody wants to know it or not. And a lot of people love it. So if they like it, I love it. Thank you so much, Imani, for joining me on this segment. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I have a few of my final thoughts, y'all. And you know, per usual, at the thoughts, y'all, we got to get into a few bops. But as we close out today's stream, I want us to really sit with what we talked about today. Knowing our global Black history isn't just an academic exercise, and it's certainly not about staying anchored in past pain. It's about recognizing the divine strength, survival, and wisdom that is literally flowing through our bloodlines right now in this very moment. When you look across our diaspora, from North America to the Caribbean, from Europe to the motherland, we are living, breathing fulfillment of our ancestors' prayers. We carry a story of resilience that no system, no situation, and no negative energy can ever dismantle or diminish. So let's walk like we know who we are. Protect our spirits with everything we got. Pour your light into the people who truly honor and see you, and release the rest of your grace. Truth doesn't need a shout out to be powerful. It just sits quietly and lets time do the work. Leave the noise behind, keep your heart open, and remember that when we align in genuine love, truth, and self-worth, we aren't just surviving, we become unstoppable. So thank you all for sharing your energy with Golden and Imani today. We love y'all deeply. Go out there and walk in your power. Stay blessed, and we will see y'all on the next stream, y'all. And again, thank y'all so much for joining and continuing to come back. Again, I apologize. When y'all see me sometimes, I might be out of character, and I apologize for that, and I'm working on it. But at the core, y'all, I think y'all know what I want to do and what I'm about. And so, you know, thank you so much for coming back and supporting us and rocking with us. We really appreciate it. Whether you come in to chit chat with us in the chat or you just watch from the cut, we appreciate each and every engagement. So I hope y'all enjoyed this live. We're going to go ahead and end it with a bop, y'all. And you know what? I don't know. Something in my heart tells me that something is breaking, okay? There is a change and a shift that is happening. But anyway, y'all, I will talk to y'all on the next live. Let's go ahead and get into the tunes. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Talk to y'all soon. Golden and Imani out. Bye.
Gloria in excelsis. That's a safe bet. From the impossible to the it is done. The battle's already over. The victory is won. So let the strings soar. Let the heavens open wide. I got the creator of the universe on my side. It's here to stay. The morning is here. Yeah. The soul of humanity cries. A roof above, a shelter from the storm, a gentle hand to keep a spirit warm, a plate of food, a mind that's free to learn, a simple peace, a righteous wage to earn. That's right. These are the needs, the bedrock and the base, the sacred ground of the whole human race. But the screen is screaming, selling something cheap, while the real world babies cry themselves to sleep. Can't ignore it. We are human, blood and bone. With a right to be loved, a right to be loved, a right to be made whole. This is our slave, this is our sacred song in the eyes of the Creator. 'Cause where we all belong, we are human, worth more than they can price. Beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded gun. Yeah, they're painting pictures, twisted and unreal, teaching our children how they ought to feel. All that value's in the label on your shoes, or the filtered life you desperately choose. They magnify the hate, they celebrate the greed, and plant a poison to suffocate your weed. We gotta reach our children, pull them from the glow, and show them a beauty that the media don't know. Let them know. They'll take the vision, the mission of the television, spitting division, a mental prison. Got the youth chasing life's addicted to the feed, ignore the hunger, the fundamental need. They love your vitals on the digital stage, putting the future artists in a virtual cage. Now they're gonna break the cycle. Gotta cut the cord. The real world is powerful, mightier than the source. We teach them about their history, teach them about their grace, teach them about the power in every single face. Let's go. We are human. Loud and blown and soul. Yeah. Everyone got a right to be loved, got the right to be loved, a right to be made whole. This is our story. This is our sacred song in the eyes of the Creator. Yeah, we all belong. We are human. Worth more than they can price. The other hateful whispers in the loaded gun. You will build a world where every voice is heard. Every single one, from the suburbs to the curb. And love is not a whisper, but a mighty thundering word. A word of action, breaking the chain. A word of power, washing out the pain. It ain't a feeling, it's a verb. It's what you do for me, for them, for us, for you. 'Cause they just a track, just a call to action for every mother, father, every single fraction of the put unity, holding it down on the ground. Time to get loud, make a revolutionary sound. Look your child in the eye, I tell her that they mad. I tell them their spirit is something that don't lie and shine. I tell them knowledge is the weapon, love is the shield, and the truth is the harvest. We gonna grow in this field, yeah. We are human. Oh yes, we are. Teach for children. Learn power. Teach for truth. Reach where you hit the roof, see the fruit. See the fruit. We are human. A right to live. Right to live. Oh. Teach the truth. Reach where you hit the roof, see the fruit. We are human. Single soul. On this lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let it ring out loud. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea, like the mighty that the dark past has taught us. We remember it all. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Hope is alive, yeah. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on. Let's keep marching till victory is won. Stony the road we trod. Bitter the casting need right. But we're still here. They don't know her like I do. Nah. Golden. She moved through the city with her hair held high. Pretty brown skin with a storm inside. Everybody see the glow, they don't know the pressure. Smile so warm, but her heart no weather. Late nights riding while the skyline blur. Trying not to cry when the memories occurred. Had to learn fast, everybody ain't loyal. Some people love you long as they control you. Now she move careful, energy expensive. Too many fake vibes hiding in the friendship. Used to give love with her hands wide open. Now every scar got the whole vibe frozen. They don't know her like I. No, they don't know. She goes by golden, soft voice, deep soul, hope or glowing. She goes by golden. City lights dancing with her heart stay open. Long dark roads, but she still stay focused. Everybody watching, but they don't really know her. Too much grace with the games they throwing. Real love, rare, so spirits they guarded. Beautiful soul, but the pain left marks in it. Mirror tell the truth when the lights go dim. All the things she carry weight heavy within. She survived nights she don't even speak on. Still finding peace while the whole world ain't wrong. Funny how the love disappear when you're healing. Funny how the fate come around when you win. Now she trusts God more than people intend. Just 'cause smiles hot and being hidden the big. She's still soft-hearted but she way less naive. Can't keep pouring love where there's nothing received. Still dancing slow through the hurt and confusion. Trying not to lose herself chasing illusions. She survived the fire. Still glowing through the smoke. Still still dangerous. Still chosen. She goes back golden. Slow so deep made the whole room notice. Heavy lies couldn't break what was chosen. Still standing tall while the whole world folding. She goes back golden. Heartbreak turned to pens in the matter. Now the tears got rhythm when she's singing. And they still don't know her like they still don't know her like that. Spend so much time looking for love in strangers. Spend so much time. Spend so much time letting outside voices shake the mirror. But at the end of the night, when the lights fade, when the city quiet, When the tears dry, we still come.